Ish duvan ish ravan sha. Gehop men ho ish kich as a hulk. Politicians to la je thing on ho. Okay, folks, what I'm saying here in Klingon is greetings, welcome to my show. This is to demonstrate that there is languages that politicians don't speak. Also to show that Klingon is a language. So, by and large, I'm going to tell you guys today, very simply put, on today's show, Wednesday, February 17th, pretty much the little pissing match that seems to be happening with politicians in the way at large. And those people who do actually speak proper Klingon, I apologize. My pronunciation is not exactly dead on. I basically took a stab at it. I know there's some of the more guttural aspects I really don't quite hit perfect. Sorry about that. Essentially what it was is Ted Cruz and, what's his face? Ted Cruz and the other goofball from Florida. Okay, so obviously the two guys that pretty much they said do speak Spanish as opposed to Trump, who doesn't speak Spanish, was Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. Now, of all those things, essentially the argument in the pissing match seems to be is that they go, well, Trump doesn't speak Spanish. He can't possibly know what we're talking about in Spanish when we're on like the Spanish TV networks or the Spanish-speaking TV networks, Television Mundo and all the rest of these guys that basically pretty much do everything in Spanish. You got to switch to SAP to get like the Spanish side of the program. So essentially what it was is the biggest part of the pissing match is Trump is like, no, a-hole, I can get translators. I'm a rich guy, okay? If I need somebody to do translation services, it is really not hard to get somebody to say, excuse me, dude, you speak Spanish. Can you tell me what this guy just said? It is so easy. It is going to be much harder for them to go, yes, I'd like to get translations in Klingon, please. Yeah, I'd like to get translations in Latin. I'd like to get translations in Amharic. I'd like to get translations in Greek, Russian. Pretty much any language on planet Earth, you can get translated. But the thing that is so completely, absolutely striking is Ted Cruz is pretty much saying roughly about the same thing in Spanish as what he's saying in English. Marco Rubio is a complete 180 out when he's speaking to the Spanish speakers and 180 out when he's talking to the English speakers about immigration. And it is easy to see. You put the two side by side, and he's telling the Americans who are English speakers, oh no, I'm going to put up a wall. I'm going to stop these guys. This is wrong. It should never have happened. We have plenty of laws in the book. I'm going to make it stop if I am president. Then he goes to the Americans and the world members who are happening to be Spanish speakers. And he's getting on these TV networks that actually happen to be primarily or predominantly Spanish and going, no, guys, here's the deal. Once I get in, I can modify things and I can make it easier for us to get in under the wire, get in country, and make our foothold to become a well-established, well-nuanced, and well-recognized group of block of voters. Now, here's the thing. You talk to most Latinos who have come here and done it correctly, earned their citizenship, they resent the guys who are coming in under the wire. And also there's that cultural thing. If you talk to a Mexican, you talk to a Cuban, you talk to a place other than, Mexico who are Spanish speaking, there is a cultural divide between the Mexicans and the other countries. They are very, very different, most especially the Cubans. The Cubans come here, and yes, they're given some special, little slide under the kind of, get in quicker than some situations because communist countries are given some special credence. Yes, they're given a special help on that one. I will be the first to tell you that. They are given some special assistance. They have some grease to make the wheels spin. That said, they still come here to become citizens. The Cuban community in Florida is a patriotic American group of Latinos. It's not like they go, okay, well, we'll come in here, we'll work for a few years, we'll make our millions, and then we'll get back out. Or we'll make what would be in our own country millions. I remember speaking to some Salvadorans, and his Spanish is excellent. My Spanish is not good. His English was not good. My English, of course, is, English primarily. But we made sense to each other by and large, and, had another guy there who actually was bilingual. And he said essentially what he's going to do, and he was an older guy too. I mean, he was probably closing in on his 60s. What he did was he came into this country, and he said, essentially what I have to do is, of course I'm in Norteño. I mean, the slang name for the North. I'm in Norteño. I come here, I make 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100K. I bank it, and I send it back home. I'm rich. Literally, I'm rich. I'm a millionaire down there. $100,000 in South America or in Mexico, you are a rich, rich, rich guy. Especially when you go to some countries just around Panama and, Central America. Those areas, everything is cheap. And I do mean cheap. I talked to one guy who was really just getting out the door. I mean, literally the guy was getting out the door. I was doing airport shuttle driving, and I talked to the guy, and he said essentially, yeah, I'm heading out. I'm going down to Costa Rica. That's where I'm retiring. I was like, you're not that old a guy. He goes, I know. I was military. I got my retirement. I got my, full retirement. I pulled my 30. I am out the door like a cat with its tail on fire. I am not dealing with these politicians, all this tax load, all the rest of this crap. Yes, I'll come back in country when I need to. I'll do a visit, and I'll go back home again to South America. Why? Because I have this palatial place on the beaches, cheap as hell to live there. I picked this place up for about $1.75, and I was like, now equivalent to what you would see down in Miami or something, and he goes, it'd probably be a $3.5 million home. So literally, all that stuff had to be just, so much cheaper down there. And the other thing too, I was like, okay, now how do you establish your citizenship down there? He goes, okay, well, you have to have sponsorship, you have to buy property, you have to have enough time down there, you have to make a input into the country. I was like, well, what does that consist of? He goes, you put $50K in the bank, they give you a passport. They give you citizenship. They consider you investing in the country because you are so tired of the crap that's happening back home, you don't want to deal with it anymore. Now, that's the flip side of it. Now, the guys that are sneaking under the wire from Mexico and South America and all the rest of this stuff, there is a huge, huge, huge split that they don't talk about in the mainstream media. If you go from South America and you're cutting through Mexico as an illegal, Mexico has a very harsh way of dealing with you. You don't stay in Mexico, okay? You go from one end, you get the hell out of Dodge, you pop over to Norteño, because that's the safe place. Mexicans do not deal nicely with illegals. Conversely, they're more than happy to send us their prison guys. They're more than happy to send us the gangbangers. They're more than happy to send us all the troublemakers, because that is one less asshole for them to deal with. They send it to us. Yeah. So when you have guys like Marco Rubio going on and saying this stuff about well, I'm going to be fully for putting up the wall and stopping these illegals and all the rest of this happy horse stuff, he's full of it. Because when he speaks in Spanish, he says the complete and total 180. And that's just how it is. He can say anything he wants to in the presidential debates. You can look him up on Telemundo, and you can look them up on any of the American interviews, and you put the two side by side, and one is reading like English, and one is reading completely bizarrozoid 180 out. It is not even close to what he says he said in Spanish. That said, I am really tired of these guys trying to redefine themselves when the truth is out there. I'm really tired of these guys trying to lie their way out of this stuff. And, of course, trying to put down Trump, who's just dude, you can look up anything about me from 25 years ago, 30 years ago. My tune hasn't changed. Look him up on Oprah. Look him up on his older interviews. The guy is nothing but consistent. That's all I got to say about that one. I'm not going to rah-rah Trump so much because, obviously the guy really doesn't need that much more of my help. He's doing pretty damn good in his own right. Cruz and Rubio are probably not the guys. Of those two, Rubio is a fake, lying piece of dirt, and he does not deserve your support. Do not vote for him. He is bad juju. I'm going to break up this one, folks. Eat good, keep the ring as always. You know it, you love it. Trump, pretty much consistent. Cruz, robocaller. Rubio, Liar. I'm out of here. See you guys.